preview will be coming up this Sunday, September 20th, on the WWE Network, WWE's Night of Champions. So you will be getting some Night of Champions preview, maybe a little bit of catching up, getting up to speed on what has been happening in WWE news. Also, maybe we'll preview just a little bit of the soon-to-come NXT TakeOver. There's going to be an epic title match at the next NXT special event. I will make sure to mention that at some point in time. And then we'll see what else there is for wrestling news. And also, finally, at some point in time, at least the game plan for now, is that we will make sure to glance at those WNBA teams, playoff teams, because their regular season has ended. And the 8 teams that make the playoffs, 4 from each conference, should be getting it underway. They should be getting it on here any day now, starting their playoff season. My and your, hopefully, Minnesota Lynx are one of, the 2 to 3 favorites predicted to win the championship. So we will take a peek at that at some point in time because, it's going on. It's happening. That's what we do here on Balls Deep Sports. On Balls Deep Sports Talk. Easy for me to say, right? It's only like the 3rd time I've ever said Balls Deep Sports Talk. I've said Balls Deep Sports Talk like probably 5,000 times in the last freaking calendar year. But anyway, that's what we try to do here on Balls Deep Sports Talk. We don't just focus on the big stories. We don't just focus on the topics or sports or athletes that I am interested in and that I like. We try to be as all-encompassing of a one-stop sports destination for, as far as talk radio goes, as possible. I'll be honest with you, I don't follow NASCAR worth a poop. Well, a little bit now because I have the show. So I follow it a little bit now, but I don't actually watch the races or anything like that. But I'm not going to not talk about NASCAR on my sports show because it's not one of my interests. Because how do I know it's not one of your interests? And that's who I want to enjoy the show more than anybody, is not me, myself, and I. It would be you, the listener, my weekly Balls Deep goer, my Balls Deep army, okay? So that's what we're going for here. We're an all-encompassing sports talk show. I want to give you recaps. I want to give you previews. Anything you're interested in and everything you're not interested in. As long as it's current and relevant, we will include it here on the show. All right. So that is the summary, the nutshell of what we're all going to be talking about on the show here tonight. And in case we don't have time for a few of the topics, then you will just have to consider the little bit of babbling that I did previewing them up until this point as the actual, as the actual bit. But anyway, we need to get into it. We need to start going deep immediately. No more preview, no more shameless show plugs that were brought to you every week around approximately 9 p.m. Central Standard Time on WNLMradio.com, Northern Lights Radio, and that you can also listen to us 24/7 on the Spreaker app, the TuneIn app, SoundCloud, and YouTube. No, all that's, we're not going to do that. Let's get into it, all right? So, as my Army members know, our hit opening segment of the show here that we start every week. Let's say it together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Balls on Fire. So for our new listeners, our opening segment is Balls on Fire. What's got me, Scotty Ball, the most on fire, fired up, heated up, hot, what have you. Baseball, I could actually go with baseball this week because my Twins they're hanging right in there. And like I said, the freaking playoff race right now, if you're a baseball fan, is fantastic. Almost regardless of what team you're a fan of. Granted, it's easier for me to say that because I'm a fan of the Twins, who haven't been playing meaningful games in the month of September in 5+ years. So it is a little easier and biased for me to say that. But I really do genuinely mean that. So we could go baseball. We could also go tennis with what went down in the semifinals and finals at the U.S. Open this last weekend. I am a lifelong tennis fan. I'm a tennis player and a tennis viewer. I enjoy watching tennis in person, on TV. I love playing tennis. I love everything about the game and sport of tennis. It's one of the most underrated, underappreciated, neglected sports, professional sports, in the world, in my opinion. And what took place in those last two rounds, the semifinals and finals, are very balls on fire worthy. Boy, I'm almost changing. I'm almost going to change and go to that now. I'm not. Okay, no, I'm sticking to my guns, okay? Sticking to my guns. Golf, nah. NASCAR, nah. Well, Floyd Mayweather, the greatest boxer of all time, last fight, no. WWE, nah. UFC, again, that's more of a balls juice type of thing. College football, I'm an NFL guy, even though I am enjoying partaking in and watching the NCAA season so far very much. But we got to start with Balls on Fire's got to start with the NFL. I mean, it was the first week of games on Thursday, Sunday, and Monday. And now all the winners, your 16 teams that won, they're feeling great and their fan base is excited. And the 16 teams that lost and their fan bases, they're doing one of two things. They're either trying to downplay everything that happened the first week and go, no, we're fine, it's just the first week, don't worry. Or they're hitting panic buttons. They're mashing panic buttons madly. This guy stinks. What's wrong with our coach? Holy cow. So if you're one of those 16 teams, you're doing one of those two things. And just to preface, in reality and in truth, quite often, all those teams and fans in the 0-1 that are either panicking extremely or totally just dismissive, generally the truth is somewhere in the middle of that. Generally speaking, it's not one or the other. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's, no, you just got a crummy team and you're going to be crummy. And other times it's, Aaron Rodgers spelling out relax. And it was just the beginning of the season. And things get worked out and the ships get righted. But so we got to start this week's Balls on Fire with NFL football. Particularly the most fired up, obviously, over my, and maybe, hopefully not, Minnesota Vikings. They were an embarrassment. They borderline didn't show up. There was not one unit area of the team on either side of the ball at all that played worth a lick. Not one. Maybe our defensive special teams units in kick coverage, punt coverage, and kick blocking, which coincidentally on the road against San Francisco, first series of the game, San Francisco gets the ball down the field. They're in field goal range. We hold them to a field goal. They kick the field goal. We block the field goal. We recover the blocked field goal. Marcus Sherrill's our punt returner. One of the top 3 punt returners in the league. Recovers it, is racing towards the end zone. Nobody in front of him. This is how you start. The route is on, and some guy took the most amazing angle and hustled his butt off and just barely got a hand on Sherrill's and pushed him out of bounds. Right then and there, I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. So it's gonna be one of those games where most of the breaks go our way. We have every opportunity in the world to win a game, and we don't. We just don't get it done. And that's not to, I'm not blaming anybody on that play. I'm just saying that was the play that was the sign. It was the tell to a Vikings fan. Vikings fans who are listening, you know what I'm talking about. That play was the tell of what type of Vikings game it was going to be. It's going to be just a heartbreaking failure where we have all the opportunities to outplay and win the game, and we somehow just can't ever find a way to, seal the deal. So the final score ended up being 20-3, your winner, San Francisco 49ers. If you listened to the show last week, I predicted that the San Francisco 49ers were going to be the worst team in all of football this year and finish the season with a 2-12 record. I am not moving from that prediction one bit based off of what I saw them do against the Vikings Monday night. They didn't show me anything that I didn't already think was going to be there, with the exception of maybe how physical that offensive line unit played for the 49ers. But I think that's got to be a brake pumper for at least 1 or 2 more weeks, because we saw just about every offensive line in the NFL do that exact same thing to our Minnesota Vikings front seven last year. So it doesn't, their physicality on offense, from a Niners standpoint, the 49ers' physicality versus the Vikings on offense is not necessarily, it could be, but it's not necessarily any evidence whatsoever that the 49ers are a good, big, strong, physical type of team. It could very, very much just have been exploiting Minnesota weaknesses. But it might, and like I said, it might go the other way around. The Vikes might not actually be that bad on the defensive side of the ball when it comes to physicality. And the 49ers may be, totally just under the radar, unappreciated, and really, really good. But I think that's much more the less likely of the two explanations. I think the most likely explanation is that the Niners are still who everybody thought they were, unless you thought they were going to be awesome. Offensively they did nothing other than, eventually, like I said, out bully ball us, out physical us. Our front seven just got owned all game. The defensive line was as bad as they could play, both against the run and the pass. The linebackers and the D-line constantly missing tackles, constantly out of position. And the worst thing I saw from the linebackers, who I was really excited about, I like Barr, I like Hodges, I like Kendricks. Greenway's had a great career. I respect Greenway. I'm not that high on his abilities currently. I wasn't going into the season. He's old and on his last leg, and I literally think his tank is on fumes, and he has nothing left to really offer outside of, veteran leadership, locker room presence, teaching the game to the younger players. But that was a unit, a part of our team that I was really excited about, and they played terrible. But again, everybody on every side of the ball for the Vikings played terrible. Defensive line stunk. Linebackers stunk. Our safeties, wow. Harrison Smith had a phenomenal lick on Colin Kaepernick that Kaepernick popped right up from, and I was just like, whoa, that's like, that guy might be one of the biggest badasses in the NFL if you can just hop up from that hit. I mean, Harrison Smith crushed him, decleated, okay? Just boom, hop right back up like nothing happened. But Harrison Smith would have been one of your lone bright spots. He played well at his safety position. However, the other safety position, I was yelling at my screen from play one when I saw that the, penciled in, supposed to be expected, this is the guy who's going to start whether he stinks or not, Robert Blanton. He's our other starting safety. He's healthy. He's playing. He's not our other starting safety. Special teamer Sendejo. I think it's like Andrew Sendejo or something. I don't know his first name. I don't care to learn his first name. The only tackles I ever want to see Sendejo making or chasing down or involved in are on kick returns and punt returns. Okay? This guy does not belong on any team's starting secondary. Period. It's pathetic. I like him as a person and as just a general football player. Very, very focused, very, very scrappy. plays